keynote speaker who will be talking to us about the pillars of progress, policy-driven enhancement in healthcare infrastructure. May I request all of you to please put your hands together as we present to you Dr. Girish Tyagi, Secretary, Delhi Medical Council. A round of applause, please.
Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity. I am Registrar cum Secretary at Delhi Medical Council, which is a statutory body which regulates the practice of medicine in Delhi. And at Delhi Medical Council, we received around 45 to 50 complaints per month against the doctors for their professional misconduct or negligence. If the doctor is practicing in Delhi and a complaint is being filed against him, whether complaint being filed at a PMO level or at state level, ultimately the complaint will come to Delhi Medical Council, and we receiving complaints from all the quarter, from Delhi Police, from High Court, from Criminal Court, from Consumer Court, and from general public also. As per what are the issues, why the complaints are being increased. Few years back, we are receiving around 10 to 15 complaints per month, and now it is 45 to 50 complaints per month. So there is a drastically increase in the complaint against the doctors. So what are the issues, why the complaints are being increased, why the general public or the patients are not satisfied with the doctors or their services? Here in my own terminology, it is A, B, C, D, E, F. A stands for adverse outcome or an event. Nowadays, when there is a likelihood of an adverse outcome or an event, or adverse outcome is there, some complication is there, then the complaint is mostly being filed against the doctor or the hospital. B is the behavior. Because when the patient is admitted at a hospital, it is not only the behavior of the doctor, but the complaint is being filed against the doctor because doctor being the head of the, or face, you can say the face of that treatment. So behavior of doctor, behavior of nurse, behavior of security guard, behavior of orderly. So whosoever is involved in the treatment of the particular patient, if it is the relatives are not satisfied, they file a complaint. Just a scenario, a complaint was filed against a pediatrician of a corporate hospital. Why the complaint was filed? Because there was a newborn baby delivered at a hospital. When that newborn got a jaundice, when the grandmother of the child noticed that there is a jaundice, when the doctor came on the visit, grandmother told to the doctor that jaundice is there, usko पी लिया होगा इस तरह से, and doctor smilingly told कि कुछ नहीं होगा, and without examining or to properly to the child, he went away. Of course, the fees was charged. So complaint was, because it was a physiological jaundice, it automatically took time to disappear. But the complaint was filed against the doctor, since the doctor smilingly told to a grandmother, kuch nahi hoga. Or of course, jaundice initial part increases the file. Of course, there was no negligence, but the complaint was filed. Once the complaint is filed, then of course there is a general protocol that notice is being served to the doctor to file a reply. He is asked to come to the Delhi Medical Council for hearing also. So of course, harassment can be there. So it is B. C is very, very important. There are 4 C's. First is communication. Second is comments of other colleagues. Third is commercialization. And fourth is Consumer Protection Act. Communication is very, very important. At least in 70% of the complaint, because of communication, the complaint is being filed. कि हमारे डॉक्टर या उनसे properly communicate नहीं कर रहे. So gone are the days when we are student and the doctors were treated as God. Whatever the doctor says, it is being seen as an order or that. Nowadays, the patient are aware ones. They want to be involved in the decision making in the process of the treatment, and we doctors do not communicate properly. So communication should be two-way communication, and I told you that 65 to 70% of the complaints are because of the communication only. If we communicate properly with the patient and the relative, likelihood that the complaints will not be filed. Then sees the comments of other colleagues, because we doctor, because of any reason or so, gave unnecessary comments to the relatives, to the patient about the prescription, about the dose, about the anything, and because of that comment, his file is being completed. And C is commercialization. As we all know that nowadays the treatment is very, very costly. Commercial part is there. Because of that, once the patient is paying more and he is going to the hospital with a certain budget, and when there's a complication or occur, there is a likelihood of more stay at the hospital, likelihood more in the ICU or ventilator, the treatment becomes costly. And once they didn't get a desired result, then of course the likelihood. And last C is the Consumer Protection Act 1986. Once this act is passed in 1986, so doctors in 1995 in VP Shanta versus Indian Medical Association case, the doctors come into the purview of that Consumer Protection Act. So after that, the treatment becomes automatically costly. Doctors start using the defensive medicine. Defensive medicines, when the patient, say, patient of a plain headache came to a doctor or the hospital, first of all, doctor try to save himself. He write CT scan. Seeing that if the patient comes up, because in the case of headache, it can be a simple headache or it can be a meningioma or a brain tumor or whatever say. So just to save himself, 90, in 100 cases, 80 cases will be a plain headache which can be resolved by giving a paracetamol only, or by giving a, if the patient adequately get a sleep in the night. But doctor write CT scan or investigations. In the CT scan, if the CT scan becomes normal, comes to the normal, they file to the, they thought the doctor is writing CT scan for the commission or anything like that. So treatment becomes costly. Doctors becomes using the defensive medicine for that matter. For so, and nowadays when you see that in one of the case, Kunal Saha case, few years back, there was a compensation given to the tune of 11 crores. So once the doctors automatically starting using the defensive medicine for that matter. And D is the doctor-patient relationship, and D is the involvement in the decision making. So doctor-patient relationship, in few years back, it was supposed to be a pious relationship based on faith and trust. Now the faith is not there, trust is not there, that pious relationship is automatically gone. So it is a totally a consumer and a provider, consumer service provider relationship. The patient feel that, or the relative feel that once they are paying to the doctor, it is the duty of the doctor to treat them and so that. And D also stands for decision making. Nowadays, if the doctors or the hospital are not involving patient in the decision making, so let the patient or the relatives be part of the decision making. What we are doing to the pressure, what the procedure is giving, what or operation is being done, they should involve in the decision making. So if the doctors are involving the patient in the decision making, likelihood that the patient then complaint will be reduced. E stands for empathy. That is very, very important. If we are empathetic towards the patient, towards the, if the doctor or that team of the doctor, say nurse, nursing orderly, sweeper, etc., whoever is in the hospital, in the or nursing home, if they are empathetic towards the patient, likelihood that the most of the complaints will not be there against the doctor for the professional misconduct and negligence. And F stands for financial. Of course, as I told you that nowadays treatment is very, very costly. If the any complication occurs, which of course is a non-complication, it is not a negligence. But if any complication occur, patient going in the budget, then likelihood there is a stay in the hospital, or patient will be put up in the say ICU or put up on the ventilator. So automatically the budget. There is a mismatch in the budget, and of course, if they are not getting a desired outcome, they will file a complaint for that matter. Then, what are how these complaints can be reduced? Here also the A, B, C, D, E. A stands for availability. And wherever the patient is going for the treatment, availability of manpower, availability of machine, availability of method, availability of material should be there. Just take a scenario, patient reaches a casualty. If the doctor is not there at that moment, likelihood that when the doctor is not there, that treatment will be delayed. Another scenario, doctor is there, but say you can say that nurse is not there. So who will have to give to the treatment to that doctor has prescribed treatment, but nurse. If the nurse is not there, that means the treatment will be delayed for initiating the treatment. Another scenario, doctor is there, nurse is there, but say that nursing orderly is not there. Nursing orderly who is helping the nurse. So doctor has advice, say ECG or X-ray for the patient, and doctor is there, nurse is there, but nursing orderly is there, who will take the patient to that concerned department, say CT scan for or ECG or X-ray. That means there is a likelihood of delay. Another scenario, doctor is there, nurse is there, nursing orderly is there, but that say you can say stretcher or trolley is not there. That means likelihood. The, so another scenario, doctor is there, nurse is there, nursing orderly is there, that nurse material is there, but say machine is not working. Doctors advise that CT scan, but CT scan machine is not working, or likelihood, which is most of the time in the government sector, you have seen that the most of the time machine is not working. So when there is a likelihood of any such kind of issues, there will be assault or violence against that medical practitioner or nurse or hospital staff, which we are witnessing day in and day out in that newspaper or the media, that every fortnightly there is a violence or assault against a doctor for that matter. So availability is B is the behavior, which I have already told you that behavior is very, very important from the point of view. Behavior of all the persons involved in the treatment, whether it is nurse, doctor, whether it is nurse, whether it is nursing orderly, whether it is dentist, whether it is physiotherapist, whether it is sweeper, behavior should be proper. And so, C stands for communication, which I already told you. Communicate effectively to prevent dissatisfaction. If we are effectively communicating with the patient and the relative, likelihood they will not be dissatisfaction. They will feel satisfied. Once they are satisfied, then of course the likelihood. In one of the case, I am just telling about that communication part. In one of the at Delhi Medical Council, we got a complaint from a doctor. Complainant was a doctor. He was the ENT doctor based at Uttarakhand. He filed a complaint against a doctor of a corporate hospital, orthopedic surgeon. I'm not telling the name of the doctor or the hospital. He will file a complaint against that doctor for negligence. His mother was operated. He was for the knee replacement was done against the mother. When the complaint came to the Delhi Medical Council, because generally we have also long pendency of the case. Generally, it took 2 years to 2.5 years to completely dispose of the case. It take after 2 years, the case came for Delhi Medical Council. In the protocol, we asked that in the decision committee, we called the complainant as well as the doctor and the team to come. When the team came, as a protocol, we asked the for the introductory part, we asked the complainant, who was the ENT doctor based out of Uttarakhand, we asked him to introduce himself. I, being the convener of the disciplinary committee, I asked him to please introduce. What he introduced, with folded hands, he told, I am telling verbatim, मैं दिल्ली मेडिकल काउंसिल का शुक्रगुजार हूं कि आपने मेरे को भगवान के दर्शन करा दिए. हमें भी लगा कि वो he is commenting on the working of Delhi Medical Council that you are taking up the case after 2 years or so. I again asked him to please elaborate what you are saying. Again he told कि मैं दिल्ली मेडिकल का काउंसिल का शुक्रगुजार हूँ, आपने मेरे को भगवान के दर्शन करे. Just cutting the short story, we asked him why are you saying so. उसने कहा डॉक्टर साहब, I am seeing for the first time this doctor who has operated my mother. So we asked him why it is so. He said my mother was diagnosed at Uttarakhand itself for stiff joint. She was advised knee replacement. Here also his unit team was examining, and after that he said that during the operation he was not allowed to go inside the ICU. Of course, it's a protocol, and he didn't. When we ask in the post-operative period, when the complication occurred, doctor might be coming for that matter. He said that no, I was most of the time with the mother, but I am seeing doctor for the first time. So he was not communicating at all. Of course, when we asked the doctor to comment, he said, no, doctor sahab, I was going regularly with the patient. You ask my junior team. Then we asked one thing about the doctor. show us in the record that you have seen the patient. Nowhere in the record it was mentioned that signature, of course, was not there. Nowhere in the record it was mentioned that your case seen by such and such doctor of such and such doctor. So it was in one of the case, a young patient expired when the case came to Delhi Medical Council, and of course, for the hearing, it was against Delhi government hospital. The complainant, who was a father of the young man, he touched the toes of a senior resident, that is a junior most person, and was abusing the senior most person, the HOD, saying that जो सीनियर रेजिडेंट था, ही वाज टोटली कम्युनिकेटिंग विद द, हमारा को बताता था पेशेंट के बारे में, हिस्ट्री बताता, बट ही वाज अब्यूजिंग द एचओडी, हेड ऑफ डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ दैट यूनिट, टेलिंग दैट ही वाज वेरी रूड, ही डिडंट कम्युनिकेट, जब उससे बात करते थे तो भगा देता था, गाली देता था, इस तरह की बातें. सो दिस वाज द आर्ट ऑफ कम्युनिकेशन, दैट even after the death of his young son, he was touching the toes of a person and abusing the other. So communication is an art, and if we communicate properly, likelihood that the complaint against us will be drastically reduced. And D is the decision making. Try to involve the patient and the relative in the decision making. Thank you very much for giving me a chance. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much, Dr. Tyagi.